All right, time is 7 o'clock. On behalf of MTC Global Family, I extend a hearty welcome to all the participants for this 2 days workshop today and tomorrow. And I thank all the participants for their cooperation and patience because this particular program was scheduled last month, but due to no heavy rain and cyclone in Chennai, so ma'am was not available and ma'am requested to reschedule this for today and tomorrow. And thank you all for your support and understanding the situation. And I extend once again a hearty welcome. And I'd like to mention that today we have with us one of my good friend and colleague from Bangladesh, Dr. Mehboob Ali, who was the former Vice Chancellor of Presidency University in Bangladesh. There is one university, Presidency University. And soon, just a few months back, he came out of Dhaka School of Economics, and presently he's engaged with another reputed university as an economics professor. Welcome, Mehboob Ali sir, as a guest. As a guest.
Thank you, sir, for your kindness.
Thank you, sir, for this 2 days workshop. And we have with us today's resource person, Dr. Anbumathi ma'am, and it's a great pleasure and honor for me to introduce ma'am. And Dr. R. Anbumathi ma'am is currently associated with VIT University, Chennai campus as an associate professor. Prior to joining VIT University, she was with Great Lakes Institute of Management between 2015 and 23. She received her Ph.D. from Pondicherry University as a UGC-JRF Scholar. Anbumathi ma'am did her chemical engineering from Pondicherry Engineering College and did her MBA from SEM VEC, an affiliated college from Pondicherry University. During her tenure at Great Lakes, she was exposed to the world of analytics, and her curiosity towards statistics as well as maths made her passionate towards the analytics stream. She has got hands-on experience and guided students in their project work dealing with chatbots, natural language processing, deep learning, and data visualization. She has presented and won Best Paper Award in some of the national conferences and have book chapter as well, journal publications to her credit. We're extremely happy to have you, ma'am, with us for today and tomorrow. And
thank you, sir, and good evening. Happy to collaborate with you again, and sorry for the inconvenience caused.
No.
Due to the natural calamities, I can't make it up on December. But anyway, sorry from my side.
No, but ma'am, we teaching community are highly flexible. We understand each other's situation. And the Chennai cyclone was havoc actually. I am from Bangalore.
Actually, it is not Chennai. It's like Pondicherry. It was hit very badly. Okay. So I'm basically from Pondicherry. That's why I couldn't make it at that time. So Chennai is completely safe, was safe that time.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Kindly, ma'am, please take over.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. And good evening, sir. Particularly, sir has mentioned about you. Thanks for joining this session, sir.
Mehboob Ali, sir. Address to you.
Okay.
Dr.
So,
Mehboob Ali.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. It's an honor you attending the workshop.
No, madam. It is my pleasure to attend today and tomorrow as our president, sir, permitted me.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, good evening, everyone. So, I would like to understand your stand and your understanding on Smart PLS. So, for that, I would like to hear from you. Have you all exposed to the software called Smart PLS? Yes. Yes, I need a reply from you. Yes. Okay. So I got a yes from
Anbumathi ma'am. I have slight experience. We are still entering into research, so this would be a first touch. We've heard about it, but not really understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your reply. Yeah, entry level of PLS. Okay. No. Okay, that is okay. Okay, no, ma'am, only knew few things. Okay, thanks for your reply. Okay, so this workshop is about the high level of advanced level in Smart PLS. But Smart PLS or VAT PLS or this AMOS or LISREL, all are tools. So, but the base is actually, the technique is actually structural equation modeling. Yes. Anybody got exposed to SEM, structural equation modeling? Anybody got exposed to structural equation modeling? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, okay. So, yeah, Sumalata ma'am has raised the hand. So it is by mistake. Yes. Okay. Most probably by mistake. Okay. So the structural equation modeling is a technique where you generally, okay. So the structural equation modeling is a technique where you generally, the regression, more than one regression. So regression is the relationship between the independent variable or dependent variable. So with the help of the SPSS as a tool or R as a tool or Python as a tool, you can only, when you run a regression, it will tell you the impact of one IV on DV. And if it is multiple linear regression, you have multiple independent variables. But if you want to run a simultaneous regression, then we call that as structural equation modeling. And when coming to structural equation modeling, you can tell that you have a covariance based SEM and PLS based SEM. And the Smart PLS is a tool where we generally used for PLS based SEM. Yes. So why we use PLS based SEM? Because generally when you go for CB SEM, you need a larger sample size and you can only use for the study to test it rather than for exploration. And you do have many limitations with reference to the covariance based SEM. Why the Smart PLS, that is the PLS based SEM, don't have that much of limitation. So even with the smaller sampler size, you can do the analysis. So that is one of the advantage of using this PLS SEM particularly. And for the PLS SEM, the Smart PLS is one of the software we use to apply it. Okay, coming to Smart PLS. Anybody have used the Smart PLS? Because in the starting, you will be given a trial version of 14 days. But if you are a student, you can use it with the limited compatibility. Anybody have exposed to that? Okay, so okay. So the other people, yes, Abhijit sir. So if you are exposed to it, have you started with the structural equation modeling, common normal model? Okay, so why I'm asking this question? Because I would like to understand the audience so that I can respond or help you in that way. So if I start with the high level and based on the respondents, we can go with the flow. That's why I'm asking for that. Okay, you have tried the PLSM. Okay, thank you, Abhijit sir. Okay, so any of you have gone through this PLSM software before attending this workshop? Or have you attended any other workshop on PLSM or Smart PLS? Yes. Okay. Okay. So, okay. 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 So, I would request the people who are there in the call at least to reply. Okay, so Mukesh, sir, your last workshop. Thank you, sir. So it's like I just want to understand, then only it will be useful for you, or else it will be just wasting your time. That's why I'm asking too many questions. If you reply in the chat, it would be helpful for us to understand your what is expected from your point. So that's why I'm asking. So I request everyone to put it up in the message that at what level of proficiency you have in Smart PLS. I'll wait for 1 minute. Okay, some of you have told that, okay, it would be better if you start with the basic in a quick manner. Okay, thank you. No idea about it. Entry level, any other thing which is something different from this, who knows at least in a moderate level, because for everybody, we can make it as interesting. That's why I'm asking this. Yes, please. Intermediate level. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. 1 minute. If it is this starting level, I need to check with the PPT. Okay, you heard, but no idea. Okay. 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 Yes, I think I do have it here. PPT. Okay, let me start presenting it. I'll present the entire screen. Okay, window. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so go there and make it as. Okay, so this is about the structural equation modeling using a Smart PLS. So as I said, the SEM is a second generation multivariate data analysis method. You have got univariate as well as the multivariate data analysis method, but generally the SEM we started using, particularly the PLS SEM, we started using it in marketing research because in the earlier days, before 5, most probably 6, 7 years, the smart PLS, usage of smart PLS in operations or HR or in other area is strictly, it's like they don't recommend it. That's why it started with the marketing research. And the approaches to SEM is again CB SEM and PLS SEM. So the first approach, the CB SEM, you can use it. You can use the software like Amos, EQS, Lizrel, and M+. But for the partial least square method, we have VAT PLS, Smart PLS, PLS Graph, and Visual PLS. And the PLS module can also be run in the R statistical software package. Why? Because R is an open software. It's an open source where we cannot pay for it. So this PLS module can also run using this R statistical software. So as I mentioned before, CBSEM is only we can use when you have a large sample size and you have a data is normal and when you have only a simple model. If you would have heard about moderated mediation and about this parallel mediation and serial mediation, it would be challenging to run in covariance based SEM. And particularly in recent times, Smart PLS have included the CBSEM as part of the module. But in earlier times, before a year, I think Smart CBSEM was included in Smart PLS before a year. Before that, you can do the CBSEM only using a software called Amos. In that case, even drawing the model would be challenging. So that's why most of the researchers went to the PLSM, because even drawing the model, when you have a small sample size doesn't mean 30 or 40. It depends upon the number of variables. Even if you have 150 responses, the PLSM will give its convergence. While in case of CBSEM, if you have more than 5 variables, we at least require 1,000 samples to be there. So that's why we go for PLSM. There was in the earlier days, before 2 years, it's like PLSM don't have this model efficiency or fitness of the model, while the CB SEM was giving likewise. But now even the PLS SEM will give the fit indices like ACA fit indices and the fit indices. That's why most of the people have moved to PLS SEM. Okay, so this I was discussing in the last workshop. So now tell me, you all know about the difference between latent variable and the observed variable? Okay, considering it. Okay, so somebody has told that I should give a quick recap. It's like the latent variable is the one where it is expressed. So I think I can do it with the PPT itself. Okay, so here, when you see this, the independent variable A, independent variable B, and the dependent variable, all three are said to be the latent variable. This independent variable, and this dependent variable. All of them are said to be latent variables because we didn't measure it directly. We are measuring it through this indicator. If we measure this through this indicator, then these are said to be the observed variables, and this independent and dependent variable, which is indicated using an oval shape, is said to be the latent variables. And in SEM, that is structural equation modeling, generally latent variable is indicated using the oval shape, and the observed variable is indicated with the rectangular box. Again, coming to the model, you have two model in case of smart PLS. You have an outer model as well as the inner model. As mentioned over here, you can see this is the outer model and this is the inner model. So outer model is the one where it gives the relationship between this independent variable, that is the latent variable with its indicators, while the inner model will gives you the relationship between this independent variable and dependent variable, and also the relationship between the independent variables. So there are two models, outer model and inner model. Outer model is generally said to be the measurement model, and the inner model is said to be the structural model. In smart PLS, generally you check for the outer model, that is the relationship between the indicator to its variables, and then come back to the inner model, that is the structural model. So this indicator, this outer model is said to be the measurement model. So if you have run this principal component analysis, you generally get a term metric called factor loading. Yes, that factor loading is here, it is said to be path coefficient. That is, the relationship from the indicator to the dependent variable is given by a metric called path coefficient. So why I have compared this with these principal component analysis factor loading? Because there the factor loading of greater than 0.5 or of higher magnitude, we tell the strength of the relationship is good. Likewise, if the indicator relationship with the variable is more than 0.5 or if it is higher relatively, then we can tell that the relationship between the independent variable with its indicator is good. So this is about the outer model. Once you're done with the outer model, so that is actually the preliminary condition generally we do. Okay, so coming here, okay, so I'll complete that. So coming over here, so when you check for the outer model, then you come to the inner model and then check for this composite reliability, AVE scores, R square, etc., and then you generally do write the results. So this is the outline of the structural equation modeling using smart PLS. So then coming to this exogenous and endogenous construct, or the formative and the reflective construct. In structural equation modeling, you have two types of construct called formative and reflective. When you see here, if it is formative, the relationship is caused from the indicator to the variable. That is, the arrow is pointed from the indicator to the variables. But when you see the reflective model, the arrow is pointed from the variable to the indicators. So it means that if you remove one of the variable in formative model, if you remove one of the variable in the formative model, then that y1 is not a variable. But in case of reflective, even if this item 1 is removed in case of y3, you can tell that with the item 2 and item 3, y3 exists. So that is actually the difference between formative and reflective. And making the variable as formative or reflective, it's not based on the researcher's opinion. It is purely based on our literature support. How we literature tells and how we operationalize it is decided, and based on that we decide whether it is a formative model or it is a reflective model. Again telling, this formative and reflective is only for the outer model, because the formative reflective relationship is between this indicators to the variables and not between the variables. Okay, so the formative and reflective model is only exist in the outer model, where you have a arrow pointing towards the variable, which is called as formative. In case of formative, if you remove one of the indicator, then the variable is not said to be the variable. For example, in the earlier I said about the knowledge sharing. If knowledge sharing is represented by I1, I2, I3, I4, in this example, the arrow is pointed outside. It means that I operationalized it as a reflector. So even when the path coefficient is less than 0.5 and I remove this I2, there is no problem, because it is a reflective and still this variable is knowledge sharing. But instead of this arrow pointing outside, if it is pointing inwards towards the knowledge sharing, we don't have any option of removing this indicator, because when you remove one of the indicator, then it will not explain that knowledge sharing variable. So this is about the outer model. Okay, so then speaking about, okay, so I was speaking all about the discriminant validity and convergent validity. So I believe that you all know about the discriminant validity and convergent validity. So shall I get a heads up about that in the chat now? Okay, Raki Sharma, I think I have made it in the slideshow mode. Okay, so tell me, do you all know about the discriminant validity and convergent validity? And if yes, what is discriminant and what is convergent? Because that is the basic criteria in Smart PLS. Okay, so Geet, can you explain it again? Just now I've seen it. What I need to be explained it again? Yes. What needs to be explained? Okay, you understood now. Okay. Yes. Now tell me, what is discriminant validity and what is convergent validity? So when discriminant validity exists and when you look out for convergent validity. Excuse me. Yes. One of you can mute and tell me what is discriminant and what is convergent. Yes. Can anybody try? Help me out. Yes, if you don't know, please let me know that too, so that I can explain. Okay, convergent means correlation. Okay, okay. Okay, any others? Okay. Okay, so there are two types of validity. One is discriminant validity, one is convergent validity. So when I described about the relationship between indicators to the variables, so that is the outer model. So the relationship between indicators to the variables should be convergent. So what does convergent means? All the indicators should converge and measure only that variable. That is said to be convergent validity. So I have taken an example for knowledge sharing. In case of knowledge sharing, you have 5 indicators. So this 5 indicators should establish the convergent validity because all these 5 variables or 5 indicators together should measure the knowledge sharing as a variable. So that is said to be convergent validity. While discriminant validity is the one where the relationship across or between the variables, that is inner model. So the relationship between the variables, it's like the variable 1 should be different from variable 2 and variable 2 should be different from variable C. So likewise, so the convergent validity should be established with the indicators to the variable, while the discriminant validity should be established across the variable. So this is actually the preliminary criteria for any statistical analysis to get proceed, because we have a problem called multicollinearity issues. So whenever you start with any statistical analysis, you check for the normality. After checking for the normality, you generally check out for the discriminant validity and convergent validity, because validity and reliability generally we do measure. You all know about Cronbach's alpha, right? Cronbach's alpha, so which is measuring the reliability of your scale. Yes, you all know about Cronbach's alpha. So Cronbach's alpha tells you about the reliability of your scale. So likewise, to establish the validity, you have content validity and construct validity. So under construct validity, you do have this discriminant validity as well as this convergent validity. So this is actually the preliminary criteria even in Smart PLS. So before Smart PLS were introduced, the researchers were doing this discriminant and convergent validity using the correlation matrix. Okay. So once after using the Smart PLS, so when I was using for my thesis, they introduced Smart PLS as an open software. So that time while I was using, I did establish this validity separately. So it was already embedded in the Smart PLS software and then I used it. Okay, so coming to here again. Okay, so when you see here, the preliminary consideration in Smart PLS is, okay, 1 minute. The preliminary consideration in Smart PLS is the distributional assumption, sample size, statistical power, goodness of fit, secondary data. So coming to this measurement model, I said there is a measurement model as well as the structural model. While the measurement model is actually the outer model and the structural model is the inner model. When you see this, this is actually the outer model, which is said to be measurement model, while the inner model is said to be structural model. Generally, we test the measurement model and then we move to the structural model. So likewise, as I said over here, now we need to go for the measurement model assessment, where if it is reflective, you need to treat it separately. And if it is formative, you need to treat it separately. So if it is reflective, you look out for the loadings, Cronbach's alpha, composite reliability, AVE, and HTMT criterion. So this is actually heterotite monotite ratio, which tells you about the multicollinearity. I will show you in the Smart PLS software where to look out for this and how to draw the model. But please understand the concept, because Smart PLS is only the tool, but structural equation modeling is the technique. None of the, it's like journal will look out for the statistical analysis. It look out for the outcome or how you present the data, the results. So please do concentrate on this, and then I will explain in the software. Okay, so in the measurement model assessment, that is the outer model, you generally look out for the loadings, which we call it as path coefficients, and Cronbach's alpha, composite reliability. This rho A is said to be the beta coefficient. So I'll also explain about that. And average variance extracted and the heterotrade monotrade ratio. If the outer model is formative, in that case, you go look out for redundancy analysis, VIF, which is variance inflation factor. Generally, the variance inflation factor should be greater than 5. So it also indicates the multicollinearity if it is less than 5, and significance and relevance of the indicator weights. While in case of structural model, it is like between the variables, you look out for the R square, Q square. So R square is variance and Q square is the, it's like you can tell that as the effect size, and you will find out the significance and relevance of the path coefficient. So in order to find out the significance and relevance of the path coefficient, you have the technique called bootstrapping. So with bootstrapping, we will identify whether the path coefficient is significant or not, and then we'll go for the model comparison. So here, this is actually the introduction to this smart PLS or structural equation modeling. If anybody have any queries on this, please let me know now so that we can move to the software and start the mediation, moderation, and multi-group analysis, because today we are going to discuss something about the mediation, the types of mediation, moderation, and multi-group analysis. So the people who are relatively new to the smart PLS or the structural equation modeling, did you understand at least 50% of what I have shared now? So just give me a heads up. So I can see raising of hand. Is that you understood or you want to ask something? Okay. 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 Yes. Anybody wanted to tell something? Understood. Okay. 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 Thank you so much. So by any chance, have you installed the Smart PLS software? Anyone? Or else I will send you the link. You can, okay. Okay, so I will show you for today. That's not a problem. I'll show you for today. So what I can do, it's like I will share the link to download the software, and you can use only the trial version of the software. If you want to purchase it, it is bit pricey for the professionals. It means for the academicians, it is 2,600 per month. But for the others, it is little bit pricey, like 5,000. So you need to think whether if you're going to do the analysis, then it would be good. But there are some institutions who buy that. I generally use it for my purpose. So I generally used to buy monthly when it is required. Okay. So I will show you the model and how to run the model today. So tomorrow you can install the trial version of it and then you can try. Is that okay? Okay. So give me some time. I'll grab some water and come back within a minute. Shall we? Okay. I'll open the software and explain how to draw the model first. Okay. So this is actually the Smart PLS 4 software. This is the UI of the Smart PLS 4 software. So when you click and enter into it, you will have this UI where I have did some more models. So it is all available over there. But when you want to do a new project, you should start new project and give a name to a project. I'm giving it as 123 and create. So after creating this, you need to import the data file and create a model. So since I have already, I think it is better to go with the model which I have. 1 minute. Okay. I'll go with, okay. So this requires a data file. Okay, so I think I'll go with this fandom. Okay, so okay, here you have a corporate reputation model. So there is a book which was launched, I think around 2012. So from that time, the Kristen Ringel used to explain everything related to Smart PLS using this corporate reputation model. So I don't have access to the book. I have the book, but it's like it is not allowed to share that. But this is actually the corporate reputation model. You can't see fully. Okay. Excuse me. So this is actually the corporate reputation model, which is explained in the book. I'll start with this. Now let me know the relationship between the indicator to its variable is reflective or formative in this model. The relationship between this indicators to its variable is reflective or formative in the model. I think it is visible. Tell me whether it is reflective or formative. You can find out the reflective or formative based on the arrow. Okay, so it is formative because the indicators are causing this construct. So when the indicators are causing the construct, then it is said to be a formative model. When indicator are causing this construct, then it is said to be a formative model. So this is a formative model. So generally, when you run a formative model, I'll also show you one another model. Okay, yes. Okay, so what I will do, okay. Okay, so I created this 1, 2, 3, right? Okay, first I'm going to create a model and I'm going to import this data set. So for that, I will download this data set. Okay. I do it in desktop. 1, 2, 3. Open. Okay, I need to import it. Random response. Okay. So this is one of the responses I have uploaded over here. So this is the response where missing value treatment and apply marker. We'll do it later. Cancel, go back. Okay. So this is actually the variables which I have considered, like this is positive brand referral, positive brand referral 2, 3, etc., etc. So what I did after importing this, how you can import this is using this import a data file. You can import a data file over here from anywhere, and then you can import it, give open, and then you can import it. When you want to create a model, okay, so this is actually the data set which is used. So when you want to create a model, you need to tell create a model, and then you need to give a project name is already there. So in the model type, it will generally ask whether you're going for PLS SEM or regression, process or CB-SEM. As I told before a year, they have also included CB-SEM as a part of this PLS SEM software. So it's like you can go to this PLS SEM and you can give a model name as Fandom. So I'm giving this as Fandom and I am saving it. So now you can create a model, but to create a model, you need a data file. So to create a model, you need to have a data file. So in order to do this data file, again, you need to import the data file and you need to upload it. I don't know where I have kept the data file. It got missing. I'll explain you that. And before that, I will tell you how to draw the model. Okay. So generally, this model is, as I said, you have a latent variable and observed variable. When you want to include the latent variable, you can tell the name. For example, one of the latent variable is positive brand referral. When you click this and do like this and give enter, you will have this latent variable. When you want to create an observed variable for this, then you need to okay, then you need to select it and show indicators. It's like indicators will be shown. First we will create the latent variable, and then when you want to create another variable, you need to right click it. It might be oppositional brand referral. So this oppositional brand referral is created, and then we can create this indicators. But to create the indicators, you require the indicators and you need to drag and drop it here. I don't have the file as of now, so that we can do this modeling tomorrow along with you. I'll also do that. So now I will explain what is actually mediation and moderation. So for explaining mediation and moderation, I do have a research article where it discusses about the mediation and moderation. So let me start with the mediation and moderation. So, okay, so this is about the reconsidering Barron and Kenny. And before, I have one more thing. I think I've saved it in the desktop. Okay, I got it. Okay, this is the one where, because our first topic, what we are intended to discuss today is actually mediation and moderation and formative analysis. So let me explain what is mediation and moderation. I'll stop sharing this. Okay. So can somebody tell me what is mediation and what is moderation? Do you know what is mediation and moderation? What is mediation and moderation? Yes. What is mediation and moderation? Yes. No. Okay. Okay. So,
Ma'am,
yes.
a mediator explains the process through which two variables or other variables are related.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the moderator is it the moderator affects the strength and the
Okay.
direction of that
Okay.
relationship between the two variables, or the
Okay.
two it could be the variables. I don't know, now this is where we get stuck. So I
Okay.
think
Okay.
moderator affects the strength and the direction of the relationship, whereas the
Okay.
mediator explains the process through which the variables are related.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me explain with
Yes.
the yeah, but thank you so much for your response. At least you have taken a chance to do that, right? So you should be proud about it. Okay, yes, I got it, and okay. Is the screen visible? Journal of Consumer Research. Okay, mediator impact. Okay, okay. Is the screen visible? I've shared an article. Is that visible? Okay. So when you see over here in the figure 1, it is showing a 3-variable non-recursive cannibal model. So what does it mean? This is actually the example for mediator. So you have an independent variable X and the dependent variable Y. So there is a direct effect of independent variable X on dependent variable Y. So that is said to be direct effect. Generally, the direct effect is indicated by C dash. It is like C superscript dash apostrophe. So we call it a C dash. While the mediator is a term where we include in between this independent variable or dependent variable, or between two independent variables also, it is said to be mediator. It means instead of this independent variable causing this dependent variable directly, through a mediator it causes, and this mediator either influences the dependent variable or decreases the influence of independent variable or dependent variable. So when you consider a mediator, you have two parts. Okay, so when you see for the direct effect, it is only one path and it is C dash. But when you have a mediator, you have two paths. The two path is generally indicated by a term called A and B. So when the mediator is, it's like they A and B, the product of A and B is said to be the indirect effect, while the C dash is said to be the direct effect. Okay, this is again a simple mediation, and we do have some different types of mediation. But this is a simple mediation where you have an independent variable and the dependent variable. There exists a direct relationship and there exists an indirect relationship. So when exists an indirect relationship, you will be having a variable in between your dependent and independent variable that is said to be your mediator. So this is the simple mediation. But when coming to the number of or the type of mediation, you have simple mediation, what you are seeing now, and parallel mediation and serial mediation. I'll also explain that with a diagram. Okay, I think I have the diagram with me. Okay, I think it is in a different article. I'll share that article. Is the screen visible? Okay. Okay, so coming to here. Is the screen visible? Like there is a flow chart where it tells you what is the mediation, what are the types of mediation. Is it visible for you all? Yes. Okay. No, transformational leadership is visible now, right? Whether the transformational leadership is visible or the moderation is visible for you. Okay, I'm sharing it again. Okay. Okay. So when you see over here, when you decide that your model should have a mediator, again, you should not bring or push a variable into your model. The literature should support that there exists a relationship between variable. So likewise, first you need to decide whether your model is having a mediator. If so, what is the type of mediation? If there is one mediation conditional on as a moderator. Okay, so there are simple mediation and multiple mediation. Coming over here, when it is mediation, is one of the model parts conditional on a moderator. Okay, so leave that. That is actually moderated mediation. But if there is no conditional, there you might have heard about the control variable. So you just think about the control variable. I come to the moderated mediation at the later stage. So when you don't have any conditional variable, and like I have shown, there is only one variable in between the dependent and the independent variable, then it is pure mediation. As mentioned over here, it is pure mediation. So if you have only one variable, you don't have anything, it is a simple mediation. In that case, that is said to be a pure mediation. But is there more than one proposed mediator? Because nowadays, when you see the journals, we don't generally go for simple mediation in case of the ABDC listed journals. They look out for the serial mediation, parallel mediation, moderated mediation, and now they are all using many techniques like NLP techniques, CNN techniques, etc., etc. So when you have more than one mediator, that is multiple mediator, then you need to decide whether it is a parallel mediation or serial mediation. Only when you have one variable, that is pure mediation, it is said to be simple mediation. But when you propose to have more than one mediator, one variable between the independent and the dependent variable, then you need to decide whether you go for parallel mediation or serial mediation. Okay, this is one term. So leaving this mediation aside, you have a concept called moderation also. So before entering into moderation, can one of you tell me what is mean by control variable? Because generally we used to confuse between the moderator and the control variable. So I would like to understand what is a control variable. What is a control variable? Yes. Anybody? Yes.
As the
Or do
name
you?
suggests, yes, as the name suggests, the variable which is control, which is in control.
Then what could be the moderator?
The moderator would strengthen or reduce the influence.
Okay, okay, okay. So, what could be the control variable?
Is
If you
this
know
this
something.
gender, age, or something like that?
Okay, so generally this gender, age could also be used as the control variable and could also be used as the moderator. And again, depend upon our operationalization. Okay, but what you're told is correct. In many of the articles, they have considered gender as one of the control variable. It means that you need to control. For example, you are doing a study only specific for female or male. In that case, you will collect the responses only that gender. Okay. And if you are collecting responses only from the few age category between 20 to 25, in that case, you are controlling the age. So likewise, these are said to be the control variables. So there is a separate section for the control variables. I don't touch it now, but this control variable and moderator should not be confused, because the moderator, you have a categorical moderator as well as the continuous moderator. When you see this, okay, let me show. Okay. Okay, when you see this article,
Ma'am, one
trust
more
that-
question. Sorry, I'm cutting you.
Yes.
I just wanted
It's
to say
okay.
that, ma'am, when you mention gender, okay, and you say this is a control variable, so can you give us an example to, substantiate or help us understand that whether it is a control variable or it is a moderator? So if you can give us an example, then we will be able to understand it.
Okay, so for example, if you treat that as a control variable, as I said, you will collect the responses only from the specific gender. Like you are controlling the other gender's influence over that. But when you want to treat that as a moderator, what you will do, you will collect responses from both the gender, and then you will bifurcate. That is what the multi-group analysis is all about. Multi-group analysis is that when a categorical variable, and in continuous variable, I'll touch it later. When a categorical variable is there, we can bifurcate that data into male and female, and then do the analysis separately, simultaneously for the data set. For example, you have 500 responses. Of that, 220 is from male and 230 is from female. So in this case, you're going to find out, is there any relationship or is there any difference exist, for example, in the spending pattern across the gender. In that case, what you can do, it's like you can do a multi-group analysis. Okay. So that is said to be a moderator. Again, multi-group analysis is a moderation technique. So it depends upon how you operationalize. If you want to control it, you can only collect the responses from only that type of people. Even in experiment, if you want to control the outer environment influence, what you will do? You will put them in a separate room. Likewise, that is said to be a control variable. But the moderator variable which we operationalize is the one where we collect the data, but we treat it separately rather than treating the data altogether. That is the difference between moderator and control variable. And coming to the control variable, mostly control variable or this categorical variable, like the gender, age, these are all categorical variable. But when you come to the control variable, you have two types of control variable. The control variable could be categorical as well as continuous. These are few of the differences between this categorical variable and, control variable and the moderator variable. Hope you understand about this. Yes. Okay. So now coming to this. So I have shown you this mediator model. Likewise, this is a simple moderator model where you can see that workplace bullying leads to intention to leave. Okay. So workplace bullying leads to intention to leave, where the path between workplace bullying and intention to leave, where this path between workplace bullying and intention to leave is the direct effect. While there is one more variable called emotional exhaustion. So this emotional exhaustion is moderator or mediator? This emotional exhaustion is moderator or mediator, because you have seen the picture of how the mediator will be placed. So this emotional exhaustion is actually the mediator, where what it was telling you, yes, it is a mediator. Why? Because The workplace bullying can directly lead to intention to leave, but in few of the cases, this leads to emotional exhaustion. For people who have a longer patience, it will lead to emotional exhaustion, and due to the emotional exhaustion, it leads to the intention to leave. This is the simple mediation model. But when you see the model over here, you have a variable called supervisory support. You have a variable called supervisory support. So this supervisory support is actually the mediator. This supervisory support is actually the mediator. What the moderator, what the moderator will tells you is that this emotional exertion leads to intention to leave. That is the simple mediation model. But when there is a supervisor and there is a supervisory support, what will happen to this intention to leave? Whether the intention to leave will be decreased or increased or whatever happens. So this supervisory support is said to be a moderator. So along with this emotional exhaustion, the supervisory support will react, and the product of this emotional exhaustion and supervisory support, whether it leads to intention to leave or not, that is what this moderator is. And particularly in this model, okay, in this model, so again going to over here, when it is multiple mediation, you need to do parallel and serial. I haven't shown you anything on parallel and serial. Let me show that. And you have a concept called moderated mediation. This moderated mediation, or sometimes called as interaction moderation. Okay, interaction moderation, as one shown in this picture, this is actually the mediator. That is, the emotional exhaustion is the mediator. This supervisory support is the moderator. In other words, the supervisory support is also said to be or called as interactive variable. That's why it is called as interaction mediation, moderation. So this is mediator and this is moderator, and the relationship between this mediator is moderated by a variable. That's why this relationship is said to be moderated mediation. Okay, so that's why this relationship is said to be moderated mediation. What is moderated mediation? Here already there is a mediation exists, and this relationship between two variables, moderator and a outcome variable, when you include the third variable as a interaction variable or a moderator, then it is said to be moderated mediation. Instead of the supervisory support, if it comes this way between this workplace bullying and emotional exhaustion, that time also it is called as the moderator. So moderator is that one which alters the relationship between two variables. Since it happened between the mediator relationship, it is called as moderated mediation. So now did you understand what is moderation and what is mediation? Did you have a clear understanding of what is mediation and what is moderation, and why it is called as moderated mediation? Okay, okay, okay. Now let us see what is parallel mediation and what is serial mediation. Okay, now let us see what is parallel mediation and what is serial mediation. Okay, I got it. Hope the screen is visible. Okay. When you see over here, when you see this parallel and serial moderation, okay, I'll visit this. Okay, when you see
So,
this,
ma'am,
yes,
we have simple and parallel and serial moderation also and mediation also, or we have only mediation or only
okay.
moderation?
Under mediation,
Yes,
okay, may I know who's this?
Gitanjali. Sorry.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
I'm sorry I
Okay,
keep
so
asking you questions because I need
no,
to
no, no.
understand
I
it. Yes,
like
and
people who
thank
interact
you.
with me. Even students, I do like people who interact with
Yes.
me because you're giving my brain so much of work, right? I do enjoy
Sorry.
that. So you are
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so under mediation only you have parallel mediation and serial mediation. Under moderation, you have only moderated mediation. I think I have confused you. I'm sorry for that. So under mediation, you have serial mediation and parallel mediation. But under moderation, you have a simple moderation or moderated mediation, as mentioned likewise over here. So when you see here, so if it is simple mediation, only one mediator, it is simple mediation. But when it is multiple mediator, it is either parallel mediation or serial mediation. But if it is moderation, it could be simple moderation or this moderated mediation. That's all. Nothing like parallel moderation or serial moderation. That doesn't exist till now. I think, hope you understand about this. And now I go to what is this serial mediation and parallel mediation. Okay. Yes. Okay. Seeing this research article, okay. Where I missed this article. Yes. Okay. Seeing this research article, when you see it, there are two types of mediation where you can see here this PSS and SBIE. These two are said to be parallel mediators. What do you mean by parallel mediators? This is mediator 1 and this is mediator 2. There is no connection between this mediator 1 and mediator 2. This Ni is causing PSS. Okay, this Ni is causing this PSS, while the PSS in turn cause the CSID. Likewise, on the opposite side, you have one more mediator where this mediator is causing this outcome variable. So this is parallel mediation. Why it is called as parallel? Because both the mediators are lying parallel and one mediator will not affect the other mediator. That is what parallel mediation is. On the other hand, you have a serial mediation with the same set of variables. When you see this PSS and SBIE, this both are totally unrelated in case of parallel mediation. But in case of serial mediation, these two variables, that is the mediators, will be related. So, and then this Ni, that is the independent variable, is causing this dependent variable CSID, while Ni is also caused through these two mediators. Okay, Ni is caused through these two mediators. So this type of mediation is said to be serial mediation, where there exists a relationship between the, yes, can mute. Okay, so where there exists a relationship between the mediators, what we are considering, while in case of parallel mediation, we don't have any relationship exist between the mediator variables. Do you understand now what is serial mediation and what is parallel mediation? What is serial and what is parallel? Okay, so then, this is one of the very famous paper generally we refer to. Okay. This you would like to understand because in mediation also you have serial and parallel, but there is also full mediation, partial mediation, etc. So let me explain this with one another article. Okay, this generally we tell it to be the classic article for the mediation. This they have mentioned even in the Smart PLS book, which they have launched in 2012. After that, they have given a revised version twice. Okay. Now, coming to the mediation. When you see this, is it visible or it is very minute for you all? Is it visible? Yes, I hope. Yes. Okay. Yeah, visible. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So over here, did you remember about this A and B? When we were discussing about this mediation, you have a simple mediation where the direct effect is represented by C dash. Here they are representing it as C. Okay. But the direct relationship is C, while the indirect relationship is A into B. Okay. Do you want to see the model again? I think you know. Okay. Okay. So the direct relationship here itself, it is there. Okay. When you see here, the relationship between the direct effect on independent X variable to the Y variable is said to be C, while the relationship between this mediator is explained to two parts, where the parts is referred as A and B. So keep this in mind. Now we are going to tell whether it is direct relationship or indirect relationship. Now, the first step in establishing the mediation and classifying the type. First, we will look out that whether C is significant. Okay. First, what they're telling is A and B significant. So they will tell this is only mediation analysis. This is nothing about the preliminary analysis. In the mediation analysis, first you will check for the A and B, that is the indirect effect from the independent variable to the mediator and from the mediator to the outcome variable. So you have got two parts A and B. First, you will check whether the two parts are significant. First, you will go for no. For example, if both of the parts A as well as B is not significant, then what you will do? You will check whether the direct effect is significant. The direct effect is said to be C, and you will check whether it is significant or not. Once you see whether it is significant or not, when you see the C is significant or not, if it is yes, 1 minute. Okay. If it is yes, if C is significant, but A and B, indirect effect is not significant, it is said to be direct only. In this case, there is no mediation. Okay. But when the C is also insignificant, that is the direct effect of independent variable to dependent variable is also insignificant. In that case, there is no effect. It means that the model we operationalized is faulty. Okay, that is what the conclusion. If both the direct relationship as well as the independent relationship is not significant, we need to do enough literature review and then we need to do the model. That is what it implies. So this is actually a different, it's like a worst case scenario where this A and B is also not significant and C is also not significant. But if C is significant, in this case, it is mentioned non-mediation. What you can arrive here, it's like, this is actually the problematic theoretical framework. You have included a moderator, which is totally mediator, which is totally unrelated. That is what this non-mediation will tell you. This is a worst case scenario. Coming back to this A and B significant. For example, when you see that both the variables, that is from the independent variable to the mediator and from the mediator to the outcome variable is significant, then what you should see? You should see whether the direct effect is also significant. Like, is C is significant? If C is not significant, no. That is, the direct effect is not significant, while the indirect effect, both the A and B is significant, then it is the indirect only effect. Okay, so this can happen. This can happen. Earlier, when you have heard about Sobel test, when I was doing my PhD, it was very famous. And the Sobel test, what it generally tells that the moderate mediator will exist. That is, the indirect relationship can exist only when there exists a direct relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. That is, only when C exists, the relationship between the A and B exists. But after that, the Barron and Kenny. So this article, what I am showing you is about reconsidering Barron and Kenny myths and truths about mediation analysis. So earlier it was considered only when exists the direct relationship, we can go check out for the indirect relationship or the mediator. But what nowadays they are telling, even there exists no, for example, if you are testing and you are coming out with the outcome that there exists no direct relationship, but the indirect relationship exists, it means that the mediator is causing the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. And this is called as indirect only mediation. This is in the case of no. On the other hand, for example, if A and B, that is indirect effect is also significant and the direct effect is also significant, then you need to check whether this A into B into C. You need to do a product of this. This is software will do, but you need to understand what is done at the background. So is A, the product of A, B, C is positive. For example, if the product of all the four, generally we take the path coefficient value. If the product of this three path coefficient is positive, they didn't worry about the magnitude, they do worry about only the direction of the path coefficient. If the product of this A, B, C is positive, then it is said to be complementary mediation. What do you mean by complementary mediation? It's like both the direct mediation as both the direct effect as well as the indirect effect or mediation effect exists. So that is said to be complementary mediation. But on the other hand, if the product of A, B, C is not positive, then it is said to be competitive mediation. Competitive mediation. So what is this? What is this? So the hypothesis in this case, when you see this, there is an incomplete theoretical framework and the mediator identified is consistent with the theoretic framework. But there's some, if it is complementary, then it is not a problem. It is like the direct effect also exists, but the indirect effect also exists. In that case, what generally we will do, we will look out for the beta, that is the path coefficient value. The path coefficient value, for example, the product of the indirect path A into B is 0.8 and the direct effect is 0.6. It means that with the beta value, like I said about the factor loading, the indirect value, the indirect effect is stronger compared to the direct effect because the direct effect is only 0.6 while the indirect effect is 0.8. This is what you need to interpret when you have a mediator. So when there exists the direct relationship as well as the indirect relationship, you need to calculate the product of the path coefficient, that is beta value, and whether it is high, the magnitude is high, then the indirect path is comparatively of higher impact, while the direct path is not of greater impact. This is what your interpretation should be. So under mediation, you have serial mediation and parallel mediation. You have serial mediation, simple mediation, and parallel mediation. So under parallel mediation, what I told, the two mediators, what we have considered, are independent of each other or they are not related. While in case of serial mediation, the two mediators, because the parallel and serial mediation only happens when we have more than one mediator. So in case of serial mediation, the mediators are related to each other. So this is with respect to the type of mediation when there exists the multiple mediators. But when coming to this multiple mediation or simple mediation, you will check for this direct effect and the indirect effect, and check whether the direct effect is significant and indirect effect is significant. Based on that, we can tell whether it's direct effect or indirect effect or complementary effect. This is all about the mediation. So if you have any query regarding this, please let me know. If you have any query regarding this, please let me know. And if you understood, please let me know. Okay. Except Geetanjali, nobody is replying to me. If others also reply to me, it would be helpful for me to at least help you out tomorrow's. Yes, Abhijit. Okay. Okay. So you all understood the difference between the mediator and the moderator, and what are the different mediators, right? Okay. So next, coming to the multi-group analysis. I just touched what is multi-group analysis. I will share how to install the software, the trial version to the sir, and sir will send to you. So tomorrow we will draw the model. I will also send you the data set where I have used. I think it is better to go with the corporate reputation model, but I will also send you one data set where I have worked personally so that you will have a hands-on experience. So anybody wanted to tell something? Okay. 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 So coming to the multi-group analysis. Okay. So multi-group analysis is actually a special case of moderation. Okay. Multi-group analysis is a special case of moderation. I think I have an article. I'll also show that. Okay. Where I have kept. I got it. Okay, I got PLS MJ. Okay. Okay, this is about heterogeneity, measurement invariance. So this is all my conf. Okay, this is nothing about MGA. Okay, I think. I don't have so nothing to represent. Okay, anyway, I'll tell you what is the multi-group analysis. So in the mediation as well as in the moderation, you have a in the mediation as well as in the moderation, I have shown you the diagrammatic representation. But in case of this multi-group analysis, there is no diagrammatic representation. For example, I think most of you have used the SPSS software. So in SPSS software, generally we will bifurcate the data into two. Like it will ask you based on, after entering the variables, it will ask you based on what you're going to bifurcate. Likewise, here in the multi-group analysis, we can use the categorical data. For example, the categorical data which is used in this corporate reputation model. Okay, the categorical data, corporate reputation model. Okay, I'll show you now. Okay. Trust the screen is visible. Okay. When you see over here, it is about the what you can call it. It's like about the telecom service provider and how the customer satisfaction is all about. This is the study, and they have developed a model. This is the data set which is already available as a part of the Smart PLS software. So when you see over here, when you see the service type, the type of data is 0 and 1. So here, the service type they have mentioned is prepaid or postpaid. Again, this is a categorical moderator. So when you want to find out, so this is the model of corporate reputation. This is the model of corporate reputation. In this model of corporate reputation, you can see this customer satisfaction, that is CUSA. This is said to be customer satisfaction. This is said to be the moderator. Okay. So this is said to be the moderator. For example, when you want to include a mediator, you have to drag and drop it. We will do it tomorrow. You will insert a connect over here and you will insert a variable here. That is what the moderator is. That is different. But when you want to consider this old model to be tested for two groups, in this case it's gender 1 and 2, or service provider in this case, whether it's prepaid or propaid, whether it's male and female, whether it's Gen Y, Gen Z. So something like that, when you want to test the old model for the variable, then generally you go for this multi-group analysis. So how will you go for this multi-group analysis is that you have a data set over here. So you have a data set over here. Here the service type is here. What you can do, it's like you have a generate group option, and in the generate group option, you need to select the service type. When you select the service type, generally it asks for what the name you can give and what should be the minimum cases per group. Why it is asking for minimum cases? You might have heard about class imbalance. For example, you have a prepaid as well as propaid, where the prepaid, the number of customers is 200, and in the postpaid, the number of customers, the data we collected is only 50 or 100 or only 60. In that case, it's an imbalanced data. So there is a high probability that the people who are high in one category, that will be showing so much of effect. That's why generally when you go for multi-group analysis, we should be very careful in the class imbalance or the two types of data. It is not that you will have 200 prepaid and 200 postpaid. That is not possible. But at least if it is 200, it should be 225 or 230. That would be okay. Plus or minus 20% is okay. But if it is 500 and 200, then it will create a large amount of distance. So that's why we are telling the minimum cases per group. But we can change this to 20 or 30 or whatever you want. And when you give apply to it, when you see this contract plan, prepaid plan, group 1 and group 2. Okay. So already this contract plan and prepaid plan was there. I have formed the groups for that. Since I have created already the group 1, but we can also delete it. Okay, I've deleted these. So group 1 and group 2, where group 1 are prepaid customers and group 2 are postpaid customers. So with this, we can do the multi-group analysis. And the intention of multi-group analysis is that you have the old model and you're going to test whether this quality to whether this likability to customer satisfaction or customer satisfaction to loyalty happens both for the prepaid customer and postpaid customer. Again, to establish this or bring this multi-group variable, there should be some literature support stating that there is a difference across these two type of customers. Only then you can bring that variable. That you can find out in your future research, where they might have mentioned that it could be extended or you can add this as a moderator, etc., etc. So this again based on the literature review, where the moderator you can include only between the two variables, but the multi-group where you can do for the whole model. That is the difference between the moderator and the multi-group analysis. In case of moderation analysis, a moderator is added only between the relationship between IV and DV or 2DV. But in case of multi-group analysis, the whole model is tested for 2 groups or more than 2 groups. This is for categorical variable. But when coming to the continuous variable, you can also do a multi-group analysis for the continuous variable. When you want to do a multi-group analysis for the continuous variable, for example, okay, I go to the complete data. I take one of the variable like, okay, I'll take this CUSL, I make generate groups and I select this COM3. Okay, so I give apply. What is happening over here? It is like the cases are being bifurcated based on many groups. But what we can do this over here in case of continuous variable is that when you see this data set, you can see the mean. So when you know about the interquartile range, do you know about the interquartile range? Okay, leave it out. Okay, when a box plot is constructed, generally we will bifurcate the data into quartile 1, quartile 2 and quartile 3. How we construct a box plot is using the mean. Likewise, the mean is given over there. We need to bifurcate the data with the mean. So with the mean, you can bifurcate the data into 2. So which is above the mean is said to be the high level and which is below the mean is said to be low level. And we can convert that as 2 categories and then you can find out. For example, knowledge sharing. How the knowledge sharing differs based on the education level. In this case, the education level or something would be a continuous variable, so that we can find out the mean value, and based on the mean value we can bifurcate into the high level and the low level, and then we can do an analysis. So that is also multi-group analysis. So in tomorrow's session, we will discuss how to do multi-group analysis using the Smart PLS software, and we can also get exposed to the physics, and I'll also teach some concepts regarding this. Okay, I have mentioned. Okay, we'll also get exposed to some concepts regarding to necessity condition analysis. Necessary condition analysis. So how to conduct a necessary condition analysis, what is necessary condition analysis, etc. So I think I would not have loaded you heavily, but for the people who are very new to Smart PLS, you just refresh your memory or think about what we have discussed in today's session so that we can move forward. Okay, so if anybody have any query, please let me know. And tomorrow, you please be prepared for an extended session till 9 o'clock, or sometimes it happened till 9:15. So I'm giving you a heads up today itself so that you can prepare for your family and then you can join. So tomorrow you can expect the session goes till 9:15. So I think now for today, I have given a gist about the Smart PLS software as well as the mediation and moderation. Tomorrow we'll get into the multi-group and NCA in detail. Okay, if anybody have any query, please let me know. And if somebody will tell you what could be added or what can be improved in the next session, it would be helpful for us to improve from our side. Yes.
Ma'am, it's me again. I think
Yeah.
it has been very nice and you've been very patient. Thank you so much. I think
Thank you so much.
I personally am very, very new to this and this is my first workshop. And you've
Okay.
been
You
very,
might have
very
started. You might
Yes.
have started with the low-level workshop. It happened before 2-3
I didn't know
months.
this. Yes, I didn't know this,
Okay.
but I will be in touch with Dr. Datta and I will keep in touch with him. So whenever, and I think I will come and see you in Pondicherry if possible.
You are from Pondicherry.
No, ma'am, I'm from Chennai. Right now, I'm in Delhi. So
Okay, I am also from Chennai. I am with VIT University. I am now in Chennai, but that's okay. You can meet me either in Chennai or in Pondicherry.
Right, ma'am. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And looking forward to the session tomorrow. You were
Thank you, Geetanjali ma'am. Thanks for the feedback. It helps us a lot.
important. No, you're putting in so much effort. And here we were all, I think a lot of us were absolutely a new blank, fresh slate, starting from somewhere. And I realized that we were in an advanced session, I think we've taken up too much of your time to do an
No, absolutely not. If I start with whatever, that's what I asked to sir. If it is a high level workshop, if I start at high level, you people don't understand what had happened, right? So that's why I just wanted to give a brief overview. But I do have a worry that if there are people who already know Smart PLS, again, I would be wasting their time. That is my only worry. But I got to know
Yes,
that
I
there are
understand.
not too
Yes.
many. That's all.
No,
That's not.
that's why I was a bit hesitant. But then I think it's better to voice out whatever we feel so that you being the teacher, you should be able to guide us correctly. So it's been very nice. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Thank you so much,
Right, ma'am.
Geetanjali. See you
Yes.
tomorrow and good
Thank you,
night.
ma'am. Yes, good
Yeah,
night.
yeah, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. What I'll do, our
No.
earlier sessions video are there, right? So
Yes,
the
yes,
first
yes.
session, I'll share those links also in the WhatsApp group so
Yeah,
that
sure,
those
sir,
who are
sure.
interested, they can just visit
Yeah,
those
that will
videos.
help them because if
I'll
I
do that.
start in the high level, nobody will understand that it
Yes,
is
ma'am.
like, again, we are doing something based on some contract. So I don't want to
Yes,
do
yes.
that. That's why I started from the scratch and explained something. I think
Absolutely.
that would be okay for you.
Yeah, I'll share those links also. Right.
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, sir, I will share the reference papers in the WhatsApp. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Kindly, please.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you, everyone. And see you tomorrow. Good night, all.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye. Going off the air. Thank you.